Are they part of the IRS?
They are an independent organization within the IRS. That's a key distinction. Their whole job is to be your voice, to help you resolve problems you just haven't been able to fix through the normal IRS channels.
Independent within the IRS. How does that work?
They step in if you're facing significant financial hardship because of an IRS issue, or if you've tried to contact the IRS, tried to resolve something, and you're just getting nowhere, or maybe if you think an IRS system or procedure just isn't working the way it should.
And they can actually help fix the
They
problems.
can work within the system to help resolve it, yes, and their services are completely free. They also work to ensure taxpayer rights are protected. They talk a lot about the Taxpayer Bill of Rights.
That sounds incredibly useful, especially when you're stressed about a major loss and dealing with tax complications. How would someone get in touch with TAS?
The main website is taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov. You can find info there and look up your local advocate's office. There's also a toll-free number, 877-777-4778. Knowing TAS exists is, I think, almost as important as knowing the tax rules themselves.
Wow. Okay, so we really covered a lot of ground here, from understanding what counts as a casualty or theft to the really strict current limits on personal losses.
Unless it's a qualified disaster.
Right. Then through the actual calculation steps basis, FMV drop, reimbursements, and the $100 to $500 rule, and that crucial difference with the 10% AGI threshold for qualified disasters.
Plus the different rules for business property, those specific methods for Ponzi schemes, and the disaster year election.
And digging into how fundamental and potentially tricky figuring out your basis is using things like Worksheet A for your home.
And finally, knowing where you can turn for help, especially the Taxpayer Advocate Service if you get really stuck.
We've essentially traced the how-to process from the IRS's own documents, Form 4684 and Publication 584. It really underscores, doesn't it, how vital good record keeping is. You need proof of the event, sure, but also proof of what you owned, what you paid for it, its value.
Absolutely. The documentation burden can be immense, especially after a traumatic event.
It makes me think back to those lists in Publication 584. You know, the schedules listing every little thing, room by room, clocks, pillows, clothes, jewelry. It kind of begs the question, doesn't it?
What's that?
Are any of us, really ready right now to document every single possession down to the last detail for tax purposes if, God forbid, the worst happens tomorrow?
That's a sobering thought. The sheer amount of information potentially needed is staggering when you think about it that way.
So maybe the biggest takeaway isn't just learning the steps on Form 4684 after something happens. Maybe it's appreciating the level of detail involved before you need it. And just as importantly, knowing that there are specific methods to follow, specific calculations the IRS uses, and that help, like the Taxpayer Advocate Service, is actually there if life throws one of those truly awful, unpredictable curveballs your way.